Hello and welcome to episode 68 of Let's Talk Tactics. I'm your host, Zach Bro.
Hey, I'm Daniel Blue.
And we are joined once again by LazarusAjin. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well today. I hope everyone had a happy Easter. We are recording
Happy
on
Easter.
Yeah, that's
Sunday,
why I'm
so-
wearing my decent shirt, but still got the whale snapback. So it's a fun combo. But this is the first week, I think, right?
Yeah.
Well, the first week of like a normal podcast being recorded live. So we did the big like anniversary, half anniversary stream thing, which turned into a podcast episode that was live. But this is actually being streamed in the live PvP Discord, which is always linked down in the description below. So if you are not a member and you want to catch these, because we're going to be doing this more often. I'm not going to promise every single week because there may be a timing issue or whatever. But based on kind of what we've been talking about, it should be pretty frequent. There's a whole new chat now. We have people in the chat right now. We have like 7 of us in here, including the 3 here. So we got 4 watchers. Thank you, Sasaki, Kosk, Logi, and Myra. I'll call you out. And I'm sure as people are available, they can jump in here. So, and we are going to be also monitoring the chat here and there. So if people have comments that we kind of want to add in, we can do that, whether they're funny, troll, or useful. So. Yeah, with that in mind, we have quite a bit this week. We have not talked about Velis yet. And then we also have a bunch of master abilities and stuff to talk about. So let's get going on that. We're going to start off with the kind of quick upgrades, and then we'll talk a little bit more about Velis. Of course, I'm biased on that one. I want to give my man a little more time. But yeah, getting into, let's do the master abilities. Those are the quick ones. So Yerma. Wind character here for you, Daniel. Have you seen her upgrades? Have you used her yet? Gotten them? Seen how she is yet?
I haven't really bothered with any master ability like upgrades. It's like a final exam like week / couple weeks for me. So it's been really nice to have just put my game on auto farm like hard 3 Trials of Reckoning and just go about my day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool to see the master abilities, but I figure I'll dip into them once classes are gone.
Well, what do you have to look forward to? She used to just have crit damage 15 and accuracy 10, but now she has an upgraded skill. We'll talk about in a second. She got the wind passive, as most URs have been getting, and then also 40 defense penetration. So
just flat out,
as we say over and over again, the modernization of old units, getting these defense penetrations. And then her upgrade to her ability, actually, which ability was it? It's the Soaring Axe Slash.
Job 12,
it's the LB. It's her LB.
Oh, is it?
Oh, it's her LB.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Imperil goes me 4 damage. Increase single target resist the same. Oh, okay. She just ignores courage. That's pretty dope. That's
change,
sweet.
if I got it right, was the Imperil was after the damage was done, and now it's before, so she gets the bonus from the Imperil.
Right.
And then she ignores courage as well. That was the big bonus buff on this.
Oh, it's single target res Imperil too. I just assumed it was wind. I actually didn't realize that existed. Okay, so that's on Yerma that has that.
Yeah, it was the first single target Imperil. Before we had a Halloween Frederica, like her fucking bear or whatever.
That's pretty sweet. Oh wait. She doesn't ignore fatal. Yeah, she ignores fatal. Wait. The way this is written, she gets courage or she ignores courage?
She ignores. So she ignores.
Yes, to ignore fatal damage for herself. Oh yeah, she gets. Oh, that's crazy. Okay, for a second there, I thought it was she was ignoring it and killing Engelbert or some shit. If you can even damage him, but okay, huh? Interesting. How do we feel about this? I think it's a cool upgrade, and it's definitely it's always nice to have a crazy defensive thing like that on an offensive skill. Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna make me use her, but how do you guys feel about it?
I feel like if the big upgrade would be if she got 1 more use of her LB, kind of like I think Oeldo got 2 uses of his LB, right?
Oh, there was a unit that had that, yeah.
Yeah, it changes TP and changed to 2 uses. So now, if she had 2 uses, so she could courage chain, I think it would make her have a unique niche, She LBs twice, she Imperils twice, she gets ultra tanking, and then she gets a courage. And because the thing with the modernizations of old units is that yeah, you give them like more passives, you give them like the EX stuff that's kind of good. But the thing is, they're still stuck with old job selection and spread
Right.
of the stats and boards. So like even if they get like more than skills on the old jobs, there is still old jobs. There is still power craft. Like Irma is not it's not for so far. It's not gonna get the upgrade to kill this X job with Imperial.
That's fair. Yeah.
Know? So I think like you either should like give you can't give them that. So if at least you should give them a unique niche, like a strong niche. I feel like Irma's niche now is not good enough to justify her in manual play or even auto. That matter.
Daniel, how you feeling?
It's nice if you want to use Irma, but I wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah, I think Laz makes that's probably the biggest point. Like you're still like no matter what kind of upgrades you get, like you're still kind of limited by your jobs and sub jobs. I was actually looking at her base luck, and it's still terrible. It's like 181, and she has her like Knight sub job. I mean, Knight is like a nichely like it's useful like in a niche situation, you know, all these breaks and stuff, similar to like the old tactics game, but like she can't even really be evasive. So like really, it's the same old Yerma. Like you bring her for like maybe steal time, um, but like like most of the job of the thief is to like evade and like steal time and like charm maybe, and lower accuracy. And it's just like so. I mean, her LB upgrade is really useful, but I don't really see it having that much of an impact on the current meta.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is it's really useful if you decide to use Yerma, but it's not a reason to use Yerma. So,
Like
I don't know. I like it, but and obviously defense pen is pretty good. But yeah, nothing too insane for her.
Like you can stack a lot of like wind damage on her, like her unfailing knee breaker upgrade, like it's 100% hit. So like it's surprising that she has a guaranteed hit. I was just talking about this. Like I saw one in arena and she was able to one shot my Elena. She did like 7k damage. I was like, holy shit. Like did not see that coming. I mean, she died pretty soon afterward because she didn't even use her LB on auto. Because she automatically used like a guaranteed hit if she couldn't hit normally, you know. So
Hey, maybe
it was
maybe that's good on auto. She has really low luck, so she'll actually use a sure hit.
yeah.
she also has a sneak attack for like the
Yeah, but
on chips.
positioning,
Like
it's really rare
yeah,
to see the sneak attack.
yeah, on auto it is, but since in manual you likely want to use chief anyway, just for the snipe dagger for the more range on the because Yerma is a Viking, so like her range is in straight line because of knee breaker. So snipe dagger gives her a bit more of range, both on the horizontal, both in vertical. So she gets like a bit more of range and damage. She gets the sneak attack and she gets steal time, so she can give a bit of support by that. So I think it does matter if you like somehow they close in and your knee breaker is not good enough to kill. Sneak attack is gonna always crit and does more damage. So
Yeah, if they ever run up to you too, like with move 4 off the thief passive, you can always get behind them. So if they're ever within one space, you have a guaranteed sneak attack.
yeah,
Unless they're on a wall. But yeah. So interesting upgrades. Good, obviously good upgrades. I'm still not super excited about
She
Yerma.
still struggles with AP.
Yeah, but Phoebe is one of the other upgrades. So these SR units are super simple. They get like 1 or 2 things, just a little better, and then that's it. However, hers is pretty good. I mean, increase AoE resist by 20. So her master ability before was the move 1, agility 20, which, you know, is part of why we love her. But AoE resist 20 is a pretty hefty number. And it's also these units like Phoebe who are supporting, they're usually staying in the back. She's not going frontline most of the time. She's probably not getting clipped by single target stuff unless there's like a sharpshooter or something like aiming her way because it's going to one shot. So if there's like barrage or these other things that are going to hit her in addition to the units she's supporting, Avers is going to help her live a little bit more. And I've seen some Phoebes survive some weird shit that I was never expecting, and I don't know how they do it. So this is just going to add to that, like, why am I doing only 3,000 damage to this Phoebe or something? Oh, and actually I just got reminded just now. Obviously, we are recording live, like I said, so there will be Discord sounds of people entering, leaving throughout.
Yeah.
There might be a way. I might be able to do something about it, but I don't know currently how to do anything about it. It's probably a setting, but for at least this one, there will be dings. And sorry. Yeah, that's a pretty sweet upgrade for if you're just gonna get like one little tacked on skill. I'll take AoE resist 20 on pretty much anybody. Thoughts besides that?
Yeah, she's a support, so she's never gonna be really in the front line. So the best way she gets like to be damaged is via no barrage, blinked, that kind of skills that really just like you kind of just throw to hit everyone.
But yeah, it's like
to clip someone.
The number of times I've thought like, oh, I could do this damage with sharpshoot on somebody, but like, let's just see if I can clip their support too. And it's like, oh, cool, it kills them, like with an AoE. But this is gonna help not, allow that anymore.
Yeah, like because the thing with a lot of supports is that like Phoebe, you want Phoebe to do like she's gonna carry your like mastery TMR, for example.
Right.
So if the barrage gets her, this gets her to do, like, leave a barrage, early barrage from someone. Then she gets to do that. At least she does that. She did the main role in a way. Got everyone did the defense
supported. Yeah.
It's kind of like when I was using Lemur in the last CM, I thought to myself, like when I was evaluating using her, I was just like, okay, I just want her to do two things: Ashery and one Hastasia. If she gets two Hastasia off, she's already paid off more than I expected.
Right.
So like sometimes you just have to base your team around that, because supports, they are that supports. If you are left with your support alive, it's nice if they can hold their own, but you usually don't want to rely on them to kill someone.
Unless you're Shell, because Shell kills people now.
I mean, there was a match where like I think like Lemur got like 2 chip kills, like people got left on like no HP, and Lemur got glint, instant glint, and just killed them. It's pretty funny. So I was talking shit about Lemur the match before, then she just carries me in the next match.
So I like how you mentioned Mastri's TMR on Phoebe. I was gonna say chances are, like if you're bringing Phoebe to a match, you're probably gonna have like one of those magic TMRs that gives you like a mitigation type barrier, or like protect and shell from like Yuna's TMR. So the fact that she has even more like resistance to like getting gunned down by a barrage, or like a Black Rose Helena, like I don't know, height 4 dark or whatever. Yeah, I think it'll help her survive. And she actually, that's one of the things like she's kind of known for as like a support, like in limited type battles. So yeah, I really like it.
Yeah, she survives some weird shit sometimes. But all right, moving on to Seymour. So previously he had 10% attack for self and 30 accuracy. I actually forgot about the accuracy. He was always one that had like some sneaky high hit rates. But he gets a fire passive, but this is more of the MR passive, where instead of getting the attack damage type, they get a resist. He gives 25 stop resist, which is sick. His 10% attack is upgraded to 20%, and he gets 30 defense pen. Okay, he gets the MR version, whatever. I like all of those. I've already been a big fan of Seymour, and giving him a little bit more survivability, a little more damage. It's just more of what he's already doing. And he is kind of like, I'm not going to call him a support, but he kind of feels like he fills that role sometimes, because you're kind of steel harding, you buff the team with him. I could even see if you're using a fire team and you don't have a mage, you're doing like some weird physical team or something, he could be a Mastery TMR holder. Like he's that utility unit. Maybe not like a strict support, but a lot of utility in his kit. Yeah, this is sweet. This actually, I don't know if it makes you want to use him more, because I already would have used him, but it does. Right. I have some thoughts about this, especially with the stop resist, combining with like trust stone things. I can see some really nice immunities coming through. How do you guys feel, Laz?
I feel like Seymour was always that way, like the MR that doesn't really feel like an MR kind of unit, because he has a lot of synergy in his kit. For how early he is on the release schedule, he came along, I believe, he came a bit before Vinera, I think. He came along with Kilf. He was the MR with Kilf.
Mm-hmm.
So he like, for an early MR, he has a lot of good synergy in his kit and such. I feel like the MA, the ability just adds a lot to him, especially on Mono Fire. because you get this like extra stop resist. It really helps against. At first, it helps against Shadowbind, but they gives like Shadowbind no chance not to hit, which was helpful for against some units. It helps a bit against Kiton, like her it becomes a bit more reliable. And if you add like Ribbon someone for some reason, then it becomes basically impossible to get hit. Or even like if you had like Kimont with him, Kimont already has 50%, but he still has a chance to get hit by Kiton.
Kiton, yeah.
Yeah, now he can't get hit by that, so it is somewhat useful. And I think it's worth pointing out is that his card, the MR card with O, gives him 20% defense penetration.
Yeah.
If he is MA, he now has 50% if you use that with him.
I love that card so much.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's a pretty good card for him. It's pretty strong. You can argue that it's a bit too selfish, which is a fair point. So this MA still helps with that. Like you now don't lose as much damage from not running his card on him. Now you still get some defense penetration. You get a bit more attack. So it really helps on that. I think that I think you tried to like mention that Simmer buffs this team. I thought you think of illusion and stuff like that. But if you run sub chief, you can't run illusion because Samurai has illusion as a sub skill, not as a main. So if you have to run either sub chief, you run like illusion and the rest of the Samurai kit. So you only can really buff others by using TMRs. Which is fair.
True. I guess maybe I'm just thinking of like I always have him as like my Keenblade user, for example, if he's on like a team like that.
It's still a really good way because like he has 4 moves because of teeth. You're always gonna want to run anyway him on high fate. So his EX upgrades are actually pretty pertinent with that because he gets more range and stop on his disable and slow, and he gets the sleep AoE. It's pretty game changer. So since you're always gonna run a high fate, you can just go with that. But yeah, his MA helps he support harder and helps he do a little bit more damage on a pinch.
It's kind of a unit I like forgot was so good, and like now that I'm seeing this again, I'm like, I'll have to go back and think about him. Daniel, any thoughts that we haven't covered on that?
Yeah, I wish that they gave him some more tools to evade for his master ability. He has like a similar luck as Ziza, like on the index, and for a samurai / sub thief, like yeah, he could be better at evading, and I was actually kind of expecting that kind of buff, so I'm surprised to not see it.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, cool. So moving into the EX upgrades, we have Elsorel, Alum, and Grace this week. Let's save the best for last, so we'll do Grace third. But we'll start with Alum here. I'm on their master abilities. That's not what we're looking at here. Also, can we talk about it real quick? Can they please patch out the whole 65 cost thing? Like, in what world are we using 265 costs to like make up that 5 difference? Like, just make them 60. Like, they're not even that crazy. Like, so, the fact that doesn't Salir have that? Like, OG Salir has like some weird higher cost. She's basically said like
he also has 65.
Like,
I believe.
Come on, game. But anyway, EX upgrades. She's always had some pretty high agility, and she gets 2 more as an MR unit. It looks like she has 61 after everything. Is this updated on WattVcalc? Is that 61 after the 2 on the board? Or because it looks like she's missing some HP and other stats.
She actually gets 12 from board. I think she has like a 10% agility buff for
her
node or something.
Sorry, I was looking at the flats.
So yeah, it's 51 plus 12.
Okay, 51 plus 12. Jesus. Wait, 51 plus 12.
Yeah.
Okay, so the EX bonuses are not added up in her totals at the bottom then. So she actually has 63 agility. It's kind of nuts. She's like almost 3k HP now. Like for an MR unit, she is good. Still fix the cost. Still not, pick 70 or 60. Just the 65 is bizarre. But the actual EX upgrades for skill wise, her HP up passive gets upgraded. So it goes from just having a 15% HP increase to having 15 crit rate and 12 evasion. There's her evasion buff. She took it from Seymour.
Right.
But that's crazy. She can get 27 from her passives now between evasion up and Keen Lance Mastery. That's significant.
I make you have to choose between that and tune up, though. I don't really like that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, I guess, is she actually evasive? Like, is that her main thing people do?
I mean, she has some evade from her master ability, but she's an MR, so take that into account.
Her stats are. What's that?
It's also lightning, so the element is not really good for evade because lightning is focused on all the other stuff. So you can't really like mono lightning evade to rainbow with her. Not what you want.
And then her horizontal jump gets upgraded to Dispelling Jump. So I'm gonna take a wild guess that it removes buffs and haste. So let's look at it. So activate. Yep, same damage, same AP, same uses, same range. But yeah, dispels all buffs when performing. Oh, when performing a critical. What? Is that really what that does?
Also,
why can't they just let it dispel?
It's after damage too.
And it's after damage, and it says dispel haste for target. I'm gonna assume that's attached to the buffs part where it has to be both on crit, even though it doesn't specify. Like,
I would assume that too.
Why can't they just let her have it? Just let her have the dispel. Like, you're already horizontal jumping at a 280 cast speed. Like, what? I guess it's a lightning thing to be like crit based, but like make it faster or something. I don't know.
To mention that they didn't update the height range is still 0. So like if you are standing on a rock on a little pebble, you can't like horizontal jump them. So that's so stupid. It's such a stupid thing.
All right, well then she gets her last ability, which is kind of like one of those things. Have all three like, so Surge Ace now, Victora, like a ton of units are getting the Glaciella treatment. A ton of spear units, sorry, where they get this like teleport thing. So hers is skip thrust, 30 AP, 3 uses, good range height of 2, and AoE of 1. So it's actually pretty mobile, with no cast time. She goes to a target panel, and then in an AoE, like a cross AoE of 2. So it's not like the burst thing like a Cosmo Plume where you have like all the diagonals filled in, but in a line of 2. It's doing a 165, so medium damage, and then restores AP when critting. Sure, you can get some extra AP on crit. I think it's cool enough that she gets the panel movement, and like I said, the range height's pretty generous. So this is a pretty sweet ability. Maybe if they gave it like one more range, it'd be like crazy. But like if they gave her the actual dispel on her horizontal, I'd say this is kind of like a really cool upgrade. But that just doesn't feel. Does she crit a lot? Like
she's gonna have to.
I guess okay. Thematically, it goes with her new passive, right? She gets the 15 crit rate. She's kind of like built around doing that now. But I don't know. I feel like they could have made her jump through less less hoops to get her upgrades. But I mean, do you guys have any other thoughts on that besides? I mean, I know I'm kind of like maybe disrespecting it too much. Maybe it's really good, and I'm just not thinking about it. But
I mean, just tells you to run always sub gunner on her because like since you're gonna go with evade, most likely you just want to go sub gunner for the smoke screen.
Oh, yeah, smoke screen is on there. I forgot about that skill.
You might like want to. You mentioned before about deciding between evade up from her assassin or the tune up. Still think you go for tune up because agility is important and more so defense penetration.
That's fair.
I think other than that, her EX is quite lackluster. You don't like you see like MRs with better EX. Like I think basic EX with a bit more like tasteful is Lorelas. A really good EX around crit,
right?
Which is under her kit. So I don't think they should have gone that way with Alin. They should just like
tacked it on. It feels like here's a crit passive, and here she's good enough now.
Like I think she should have gotten more. Like she should have gotten like more evade, like some sort of evade buff for her. Maybe like Dragoon standard with evade buff, something like that.
Like she could have even had the horizontal instead of dispelling. Could have been like,
I like that.
Like after it hits, she gets an evade buff. So like you do the jump, so you're in the air, then you land and get an evade buff, and kind of like that's your like defensive side of it. But yeah, I don't know, nothing too exciting here. Daniel, any other thoughts?
Yeah, so I like any X upgrade that modifies passives or reactions more than like active skills or even TP skills.
Reactions.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
like
Some
reaction
reactions.
upgrades more than
Yeah, like some reaction, like fucking not Surges. Severo, I think has like something. I don't know. Somebody has something crazy that's like a lower rarity unit. Um, I think he has like a sleep reaction, and like somebody else has like an upgrade to like a slow, like the slow reaction from Time Mage. I don't know.
Lemur,
So
yeah,
like
his
even
sleep. Yeah,
Lemur
something
has
that's
the
like something that's always active instead of like having it like maybe be like a niche use on a skill or even like a skill you use all the time. So I like seeing her passive upgrade, and I think it's really cool that they gave her more evade so that you can make her into more of an evade unit if possible. But other than that, I mean, like the mobility from her job 25 skill is cool. You just have to remember that the range height is 2 and the AoE height is 1, so you
right.
might get into trouble. But yeah, other than that, I don't really have anything else to add.
just to add up, several has the preemptive sleep, so like before he gets hit, he can sleep the target. I think it's like that. And Lemur has preemptive slow, so she slows and debuffs attack and magic. That's the ones you want to mention.
Breaking counter apparently. Yeah,
Something
the
like
fact
that.
that the slow counter at a base of 50% is so insane. I forgot about that. Jeez, what a
Yeah.
good passive.
But then Chris kill. But
Yeah,
then
yeah, man. The number of times I've lost class matches to that is actually probably too many. Probably should just stop attacking units that even have access to that skill within 2 spaces. But El Sorel finally got her upgrade. This is one I know a lot of people in my guild were waiting for, and I want to say I've seen some PvP players also talk about it, like people in the PvP server that aren't in my guild. She gets a little bit extra agility on her board. And then some stats across, HP, attack, and stuff. Nothing too crazy. But her skill wise, she gets, as we are just talking about, a passive upgrade. So Nightblade Mastery goes to Nightblade Sequence. Pretty badass name, actually. It makes me think of like a kata or something. Her attack 30% remains. Her accuracy 25 remains. Her decreased evasion 10 remains, but she gets an additional decreased AP consumption by 20 tacked on. Yeah, I mean, that passive is so stacked already, you're probably always using it, so just make it better. We always talk about these AP passives as being something that it's really useful, but we don't always want to put on because it's kind of like the third choice or like the 2.5 choice. So whenever they put AP onto something you're always using, fucking sick. Like, it's great. So we got Nightblade, Sequence, and Tune Up. That's just your passives there. And then really, if you need to be specific, you can go to Providence or Missile Mastery. But she should just have 4 really good passives, though. Her other EX upgrade is to her Concentration skill. It's now called Concentration Vitality. So it still does the slash attack 40 and the defense pen 20, but also restores additional AP for self. Same TP cost, same range, and everything. But sorry, the slash attacks for allies as well. What were you? You're say something, Daniel?
No, I was
Oh,
just
I thought
going
you were gesturing to like, I got a thing. Okay. And then her job 25 skill is Blade of Inertia, also pretty badass name.
badass.
Yeah, it's really sick. This one is pretty. This one's a conversation piece.
Fucking punishing.
So we have a 20 AP 4 use. What the fuck range is this? 5?
Yeah.
Range 5, range height 1, sure. Decrease agility, sorry, medium damage 165. Decrease agility by 25% for 3 turns for target. And increase their AP consumption by 50. So everything they do is going to be more expensive by 50%. That is rude, first of all. Second, does this really change your viability, do we think? Like, this is kind of nuts. That range is disgusting.
I think in a way that I have used LCL before on CM. I think I used her on the first CM with Yuna and stuff, and I tried to use her in the that was the first one she was available. I used her there. Because of Nightblood, she has a good matchup viability because she can run sub Spellblader, so she can cover both Pierce, Missile, and Magic resist for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty strong actually. She has the Magic Barrier, which is like you just run Spellblader for that. You just run for the Magic Barrier and the resist buff. You're never gonna use the actual skills.
And she's actually another unit that's only negative to strike. Like she has neutral, slash, and magic attack. She's got some innate pierce and missile, and then strike's just chilling there.
Yeah. So she's like a really good resist wise unit. And now with the EX upgrade, I think you can justify better both for the stats and for the actual unique niche that her new skill gives. Also, you have to remind yourself that her LB gives 40% AP reduction consumption, so she's gonna be super cheap with her passive now.
That's 60%.
Yeah, she's gonna spam skills like crazy, and you don't really need like anything AP related, like bells or something, because she's gonna get AP from her concentration.
Right.
She's gonna be like 20. It's now a 25 AP skill, 15 from the TP cost plus 10 for the skill itself.
And if she
So
double resists, that's another like 18. Like it's crazy.
Like she's really good for that. Like she's gonna be a really versatile unit for any TMR. She can carry knee blade. She can carry. I think she can carry macheries. Like you might want to do that, just because you're already gonna try to group up the buff anyway. So might as well carry the machery TMR on her. I appreciate the bulk too.
Yeah, it's cool too with like. Oh, sorry. What?
And like other thing I really want to mention is that she has a good accuracy, and now she gets even better with the EX. I don't know how the accuracy calculation works, but her Blade of Inertia nerfs agility at the start, so I don't know how it's gonna be because agility is a stat on dodge, so maybe you get like 2% more hit when you use Blade of Inertia.
I don't know if that's gonna work because it
like
says after the hit on the
it says start,
Ravi.
doesn't it? Like it says end.
Well, it says start. That's a buff thing. So when it's start or end, it's like at what point in your turn does that fall off? I believe is what that means. So the AP consumption, like the agility would drop off at the beginning of that unit's turn when they take that third turn, whereas the AP consumption will drop off at the end of their turn.
Okay. So like,
the start and end thing would be above or below the damage for if how it applies.
Yeah. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, so it's basically a 2-turn agility debuff. So the third turn is just gonna fade away.
Yeah.
It makes a skill a little bit not worse, but it's not gonna use it for the agility anyway. So I think
if it did the agility without hitting, that'd be pretty sick.
I think it's a really good skill overall. Like, it's her unique niche. You can probably like annoy some people, like out on lightning comps. He just gets way expensive, especially if he doesn't carry any solid bells or stuff like that. So I think she has now a place on main PvP. Even if it's not like very prominent or very meta, you could get surprised and lose 2-1 because you didn't take into account the AP consumption. So
you go to use a move and it's like, oh well.
Any X that gives, in my opinion, any X that gives a unique niche to a unit or makes them even if a bit actually viable on any scenario, it's a good EX. It's a good upgrade. So I think that applies to us well. Really solid EX.
Daniel, how about you?
Yeah, so like I was talking before, I love the passive upgrade. As far as reactions, like you're probably gonna have Magic Guard as usual, unless you want to hit your opponent or your teammates in the back. I am not certain I like the concentration buff upgrade as much. To me, this is kind of pushing towards using this regularly on her, and especially for like live PvP situations or like a guild raid or whatever. You only have a limited amount of turns to get buffs in, and this is making concentration more of one of those buffs that you probably want to get in, especially because of the restored AP. So it's starting to feel like it doesn't matter what TMR she uses because you want to get the concentration in, and then like you're probably going to be in range of like Bladed Inertia to get that AP consumption increase in as soon as possible. So honestly, for her, I think her X upgrade makes me consider using like a weapon TMR and having like an aim ring as well as like a nice armor or something. Obviously she's not going to be evading, so like you probably want to put in like a defensive gear piece of armor. Honestly, AP drain from her Nightblade, like her main sub job, I love that skill, dude. Like
Yeah.
I will go out of my way to make sure I have that available in like every match. Like having all three of my units have the chance to AP drain if they can hit with it is just like the dream. It just shuts down the opponent's team so hard if they get in range. Um, so like it seems like you want to get her LB off as soon as possible, get that 60% AP consumption down, and then kind of drift from there. I do like the theme of like sequencer, like you can like once you get her going, like she can just keep going, you know. Like the decreased AP cost is just insane on her. And you know, getting like AP up buffs or AP acquired up buffs and stuff. I can just really see her lasting for like the duration of the battle without running out of gas, you know?
I mean, with runes on too, you can get what, another
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
10% reduction. Like
Which
there's
is
some crazy stacking you can do here.
You can see a funny meme with 2B's TMR that also reduces AP consumption, I think, and also Clouds, I think. Both of them reduce AP consumption buff, so you could go like runes, then the LB, then the passing, she gets like no AP cost on her skills whatsoever. So
yeah.
it's gonna
So
be like really funny to just see like LCRL just like spend any skill for like 2 turns on something like that.
yeah, so you're gonna it's definitely something that you're gonna have to juggle in terms of buffs, you know, between concentration and a TMR buff. If you can get both of them in, that's cool. But it's just like a consideration to keep in mind. Um, I think one of the great things about a weapon TMR is like the fact that you can add runes to it to make it
Dude,
like the main source of like attack
insane.
before you get the percentages lowered. The main source of like HP or crit or accuracy or whatever. So like I'm thinking like maybe shoots out TMR. I can't remember what other great sword TMRs there are, but I think that's like the only one. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm trying to consider whether this makes her more viable on a light team than there are other choices right now. I think she is kind of being pushed more towards a PvE side of things, honestly.
Kind of disagree. I think it should just be a mixed team like unit.
Yeah,
I agree. Like you're maybe not putting our mono light because there's other maybe better. I'm not gonna say strictly better, of course, but
her job team
better like
25
combinations.
scopes by itself.
Yeah, it's sick. Like it's got to be annoying to play against. Just imagine if it was like AP consumption before hit though. You just like no matter who you tag, just boom, you're 15 more. But yeah, I think they're pretty sweet upgrades. I mean, of course, I think they help with PV as well. But yeah, I guess if you pair with like Velis or something, give it some AP over, that'd be pretty sweet too. But we'll talk about that in a moment. Any last thoughts on Elstar before we move on to Grace?
How
Quick
dare
thoughts?
you disagree with me, man?
Okay.
God.
Can't always echo you. What's up, Laz?
Really, I think
Alright.
we said what had to be.
Oh, Shisasaki just posted a picture of wine, and damn, I'm jealous. I had a mimosa this morning though, so you know. Can't be totally jealous. All right, Grace. This is a favorite of ours. Speaking of units that can drain AP.
Church of Grace, man.
Yeah, right. Church of Grace. A party of 2. No, just kidding. She gets 6 agility on her board, bro. Like it's not base agility, so it doesn't help her percentages. But like 6 is a massive number. It's almost like putting bells on her. Like, that's insane. And I'm assuming again definitely not. These totals at the bottom are not with all these upgrades. She's
Her
gonna
base
have
is 53.
59. Like she got 59. Like it's insane. She's still not like super duper fast, but we want to talk about step 1 of bringing her into like more viability again. Boom. She doesn't get a lot of HP though, so they start kind of balancing them around the whole like resisting everything in the world, and tanking that way. Jesus Christ, Sasaki. Moving on to the skills though, I would be curious. I guess before we do that, I am curious what the actual HP total is with this. I don't feel like doing the math right now. If someone knows, that's cool. It looks like it might be an additional 600 HP, so I think she might have 1700 now.
She's
Still not incredible.
It's 2300.
Oh, really? It's that much more? Okay, I wonder what stats I'm missing on these boards right here. But the only concern is there's so much resistance penetration now that playing a resist tank like the Three Sisters, a little sketchy. But let's keep going because I want to find any reason to use Grace again. So let's be super biased. One of her upgrades is to her. What, Daniel?
Reaction.
one of her reactions. So she gets an upgrade to a regenerator. It's now regenerator 2.
Name.
Nice naming. It's Final Fantasy based, right? Should be regeneratora or something. But it goes from 20 to 30% chance to activate. And instead of healing 10%, it heals 20. That's actually pretty massive.
It's like
Regenerator
400.
is what's that?
She regens like 400.
Which I mean, it's one of these things that I feel like I see regen so often. It's kind of like Reflex or Aeon Bond, where I just feel like they have this higher hidden percent than they actually are. So she gets the benefit from that. Her Curaga is upgraded to Curaga Perseverant. Perseverance is a job then, I assume, right? It's like what these little brackets mean.
Yeah, the extra.
So instead of having just the 210 heal, which it looks like everything else is the same, cast time and everything, she also is going to grant an AoE resist of 15 for allies. Sweet. I mean, Curaga is a good heal. If you're healing your team with her, you're probably using Curaga, because you're on sub Lancer like a true Chad. And then, anything to tack on to a commonly used skill is welcomed. Is it insane? I wouldn't say that, but it's welcomed. Her job 25 skill is Mind Enhancer. I'm surprised it's not like fucking what does this even do? Spirit? No, I guess she doesn't have anything like this. Never mind. I was gonna make a stupid joke about giving a 2 on it, but it's brand new, so let's go into it. Increase spirit by 20 for 3 turns for allies. This is in a little cross AoE centered on her. Increase spirit debuff resist by 50 for allies, and also increase healing power by 30 for self. So, I guess literally enhancing yourself to help the team out with more heals. I'm left feeling not super excited. Daniel, how are you feeling about this?
I feel similarly. Honestly, I think the Mind Enhancer job 25 skill, I rarely do I have the opportunity to be like, this is a trap. And this, like her job 25 skill is a trap to me. I mean, the healing power is nice to have access to, but it's only for herself. It's not like an AoE buff like Rosa has. The effects is it's 32 TP on a unit that needs the safer TP for when it matters, for like full life, getting your Karagas or Kiradas in. The fact that it's only for like a spirit buff and like spirit debuff resistance, like it's very, very niche. Getting that in, like if you really wanted to get a spirit buff in, like you probably have somebody else to do it.
Yeah,
And
it is
it's
instant,
so
which is
expensive.
nice. It's instant, which is cool. At
That's
least,
true, yeah.
it's like that's always been my problem with regen as a skill, is you have to line that shit up, and then still have your
Yeah.
units take turns and like not move out of it. It's a really clunky skill to use a lot of the time. So I do appreciate that this is at least that. Actually, that'd be a cool thematic thing. She has this regen upgrader passive. Why not make her regen like instant cast or something
Oh
to
yeah.
kind of go along with that regen? Maybe
Like
it's because she has her own buff, but
Naya has like a ranged regen, I think.
something like that.
That'd
Yeah.
be sweet.
Uh,
Yeah, I don't think she got the treatment she deserves, but maybe I'm biased.
I think this. I was just gonna say my last thought was 6 agility, really good. That's gonna help if you do want to use her in general. But like I said, I think the main thing against her, regardless of what her upgrades are gonna be, was the whole penetration thing. There's so much penetration now that I can't imagine her being able to live things very easily anymore. I guess you could stack barriers and stuff, but it's gonna be tough. Maybe you stack AoE resist on her and you just hope they don't single target you. But all right, those are my last thoughts. Daniel, continue. Sorry.
Kind of to tack onto that, I didn't really have much else, but I think isn't there a rune that gives you an increased chance to resist um like imperils or like attack type
I
reductions?
think so.
That I think that would be really useful on her, but again, niche. Like, is it worth it really? But I mean, unless you're considering using that for like all supports or casters or whatever. Um, but that doesn't change the fact that like it doesn't keep you from getting your resistances penetrated. So
Right.
yeah,
You had to say it with that tone
I
too.
did, yeah. So
Penetrated. You fucking.
so I don't know, maybe with everybody getting like the party element buff, like maybe she'll be able to live through a hit. But yeah, I mean she got kind of pushed out of the like any kind of meta for a reason, and yeah, it just feels bad.
MR only. Anyway, last thoughts about Grace?
Think that really don't think it's a good DX, as in the upgrades are really tame. Like regenerator, sure, you get like a bit more, like a 50% more chance to counter, and then double the regen, but you are
Then you have to take a hit.
regening.
You have to take a hit
Have
to
to take a
even have it go.
hit,
Yeah.
but you are regening like 10% more on a unit that barely has any HP to start with. You have Koraga, that's probably the best upgrade by far because of the AoE resist. It's gonna be useful on anyone. You can even just like throw out as a heal just to buff. I would probably do that before doing even like my enhancer because AoE resist that good, like any general resist that good. You might as well just start buffing with Koraga. Like randomly,
Right.
just
Kiraga in the beginning. Kiraga in the beginning.
yeah,
You get AoE
like
resistant. You get AoE
like
resistant.
just like throw your DPS in the front, and then you preempt cast Kuraga, and then they get hit, they get healed, and then they get AoE. It could be a thing I could see you doing.
I guess yeah, you could precast it. Yeah, if you're
My
predicting like a
enhancer
barrage.
is like, I mean, Daniel said that all.
You can just say it's shit, and then we can just keep going.
Yeah. Daniel said it all when he mentioned the Rosa's skill. I'm really fond of Rosa's skill.
Same, yeah.
With the last CM, I got really fond of her skill, so it really makes me sad to see like such a downgrade to that. You can say, oh, but Rosa is you are, but like, yeah, MR never stopped you from getting good EX upgrades. Like, you can see like Seymour, even Shell. Shell's a support, but she got really nice EX upgrades. Like, people thought it was really bad at first, but then Shell starts to hit like a truck randomly, and people just like, oh yeah, this actually was a pretty good EX upgrade. Because it turns Shell from an actual factor on battle, which like something EX should do. They should give you your unit a new niche, and Grace doesn't get any of that. Grace just gets more healing, buffing.
One thing chat is pointing out, I saw it on the WAV calc, but I wasn't totally sure that's what the symbol meant, but I guess we're getting confirmation it is. Alim's horizontal jump now locks on, kind of like Winter Mastery. So it has this little, I guess, lesson time, this little like pink target looking symbol on the abilities on here. Just means you can lock onto a unit. I was wondering why it said single target, like
Possible.
yeah, possible. I'm like, you could do that before, but I guess it means a lot. It means it locks on.
Okay.
So, yeah, that makes that a decent bit better. What I want to know though is if you lock onto a unit on height 0 and they move up to height 1,
I think it still works.
Does it still make a sound?
I thought that's how you avoid it.
Works.
Yeah.
I think it still hits just because when you did lock on,
I'm gonna stop you there. Unless you know, let's not say it because that is a very important thing.
I said I think.
I know, but like it's not worth even talking about unless it exists. Like
disclaimer, not a professional violin.
Wait, hold on. I'll be right. All right. So Grace is done. Yeah, if you guys want to test it, actually, that is a good point. When we do these live podcasts, we can have people in chat be like, all right, let me go test it real quick, and then get back to us by the end of it.
That's why I was pushing it.
All right, so getting into Velis here. Obviously, I'm very excited. I always am biased towards ice units. I always want to be the one to talk about the ice units and go through their kits and gush about how much I love them. And we're gonna start off with a story on this one. So if you open up my account right now,
I guess story time.
Yeah, right. The Velis banner is gone, but if you could still see it, mine would have 100% pity meter.
Oh fuck, that's right, dude.
Ouch.
But I have the unit. I literally pulled this motherfucker as the bar hit 100. Like I pulled him, and then it said, "Ding! Guaranteed you are on your next pull." I'm like, "Go fuck yourself."
The way you said that, you're like, "But I have him." It reminded me of like Dumb and Dumber, where he's like, "So you're saying there's a chance?"
Yeah, right. Man, that was such a painful pull session, man. I've pitied the last 3 things I wanted, and oh god.
Oh boy, 40 shards for 40k gems. That's 40k Visual. Such a steal.
Yeah, man. I thought about it. I'm like, do I do the other 2K and just do? I'm like, nah, I can just max him without even spending Vizier. So we'll go with that. But anyway, obviously, you know, that's what happens when you
Yeah, it's rough.
say I'm gonna spend whatever it takes to get him. And there we go. I was weak for Renan. I thought the water unit was coming out first, so I thought I had an extra month to save. It's my fault. So Gumi got an extra paycheck. But let's hop into Velis. His TMR is wait, what?
Never say that because Gumi knows. They
Yeah,
listen
right.
to you. Yeah, I'm gonna spend everything I want for my favorite unit. Oh,
At least you
that's
didn't pity
so-
him, Sasaki says. All right, how do we boot people from chat? Let me see. Right click. All right.
Click ban Sasaki.
All right, sorry. Back on topic. All right, so we got a 3-1 movement, ice element, 100 cost unit. This is the Warrior of Crystal for ice. He is a super thematic, like, book magey dude. Arithmetician has a book symbol, even though they don't use a book. Pisses me off, but there it is. So I'm going to say he has triple book job, even though it's not possible. His TMR is called the Frostweave Mantle. It is an accessory, despite its look to be an armor. And this always throws me off when I see these. I'm like, oh, it's an armor, and I stop looking. And I come back later and it's green. I'm like, oh shit. But it has frost.
Wait. Can we stop for a bit and can we just take note that like this is basically you in any fucking game. Like this is your thematic. Like the
Right.
mage guy with a fucking book and he's ready to go.
And ice.
It's so like,
he's like,
if this
I
guy
don't want
was
to do this, but now I'm gonna whoop your ass.
this would be like your favorite unit if he was released at the beginning of the game. So
and we're gonna get even more into why, because even beyond that, his theme
like,
goes past
there's
that.
a reason why you've loved Mish this whole time.
Yep.
All right. Anyways, please.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm all good for gushing. We actually made pretty good time on those upgrades. So, we got 260 HP, 4 defense, 8 spirit, 12 accuracy, decent spread, low HP, but we have trust stones now, so we can you can fix that. We'll talk at some point, probably more, maybe like on a week where like we had to skip a week, stuff happens. I know I make that excuse a lot, but hey, whatever. The week would have been just Velis and his book. Like that's a week we could have maybe talked about trust stones if we were feeling ready. So at some point I think we'll maybe talk about it more. I'm cool with the process now. Like I get how to make trust stones and do it all and figure out the sets and everything. What I'm not totally sure yet is what my favorite sets of 6 are. Right now I'm just still trying to roll for all the passives I want. But we'll talk at some point about it. We're going to mention it here and there, like I just said about the HP on this Frostweave Mantle, but I think that's a pretty mild mention. So anyway, continuing on. It's equipable by anybody. It looks like any sort of mage. So there's staff users on here. There's book users on here. There's glove users. I think it's just
Elena.
What's that?
There's Elena. There's like rune knights. Fucking
spellblades. It's like magic attackers, I guess.
Yeah.
Spellblade.
I don't see spellblade.
I see. Ooh, I don't see spellblade. Okay, so it's not sword user one. No, because Elena's a fucking sword. What the fuck? Of course she gets the treatment. I'm just like adding on whatever. All right. Anyway, she.
GX3.
What's that?
Global exclusive treatment.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Global first, right? Global original.
Global first, yes, not even exclusives. No, all good. Frostweave Vivification is the ability, pretty badass name. 2 casts, sorry. 32 TP, and it has the kind of giant burst AoE centered on the user. Decrease AP consumption for 25, or by 25 for allies for 3 turns, and also restores 10 AP just straight up for allies. Now, when it says for allies, has anyone used this yet? Does it do it to himself?
It's everyone, yeah.
It does himself as well. This is insane. Yeah. It's 32 TP plus a 10. Not that he has really AP issues, but you can put this on somebody that does have those issues.
Yeah.
And then decrease AP consumption. This is insane. And I think
It's also roll buff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so Kosk mentioned in the chat as one of the things this could synergize. I believe he was saying it synergize with her, right? I was trying to scroll up to find that comment, but
I don't think it was synergized with her LB though. Because they're both decreased AP consumption buffs.
That is true.
So you got to go with either 60 or 45. But
I think you can
this is a TP buff and not an AP spender like an LB.
You can do a point that maybe because of the TMR you can like save time with the LB. You can like just focus on Blade of Nature, and then if you need the AoE you can go main slash.
Yeah, there's a I think if you do
to the TMR.
the math
TMR.
difference between like the 43 AP you would spend from the LB might be worth saving and not getting that extra like 35% reduction, because that 35 would have been that 43 you were going to spend on that, and you can use your other like quote unquote good moves that give you other buffs and stuff. All right, peace out, Myra. I know you're not in the chat anymore, but I'm saying peace out. If you listen to the rest of this, there's your name. So yeah, it's a really cool ability. And one note real quick, it looks like he just tested. So Zazan on height 0, Oberon target Zazan, activates Soaring Dragon Spear, climbs height 2, gets pierced down and evades. So it does stay locked on, even if you get out of the range. So
In the height, yeah.
sweet. And Laz's intuition was correct. So yeah, anyway, we are bouncing all around with with the chat and Velis, but yeah, this TMR is sweet. I don't think I would just max him for it, but it's going to be an interesting one to see how people use, because just even that size makes it really versatile with how you can do your openers and PvP. So I think this is really, really good. Looking at the master ability for Velis, he gets the normal ice stuff. He has decreased hate by 3, which is cool because he's meant to be sort of the supportive unit. But we'll talk about how he can pivot. Then his actual like ability add-on after that is decrease attack skill activation time and none attack, so non-attack, by 300. So talking about how it's like kind of like my theme, sort of like all encompassing. He even gets cast time down. I love Mish. We always talk about it. Any sort of abusing these like powerful cast time skills, and then you get to do it even faster. Just I don't know why it is like such an obsession for me, but I love it. I feel like I'm like breaking the game, I guess, when I do it, or like I'm abusing something. But
just like any kind of casting speed alacrity, just like indicates like an arcane mastery kind of thing. Like I can do this faster than you, therefore I'm better, or whatever. You can get it in sooner.
Right. So let me get into stats wise. He's man 67 agility on just some supportive magic caster 3-1 unit is, I feel like, so unusual. Maybe you could look at the index and I could be wrong, but what's that?
Base 59 is unusual. Like you would expect him to have like an average agility. Nope. He's almost as fast as like this like 60 to 63 base agility like rangers or whatever.
Yeah, there's like only a handful of units that are higher than that total. Like he's number, what is he, like he's number like 20, but he's tied with a ton of units. The next one up is like 14th place. So his agility is very high for kind of what he is, honestly. Because like you said, no, he's not a ninja. He's not a ranger. He's not any of these like fast things, but here he goes. He's got built-in defense. He's got built-in spirit, 6 and 12 respectively. He's got like 3.35, so like 3.3k HP. Pretty high magic stat, 575 after everything's said and done. He does have the 20% node on his board, which helps with that. Really all around impressive, although his resistances are a little so he has only plus 5% on slash and plus 10% on magic. He's negative 15 strike and then pierce and missile are neutral. And looking at his status resist, he gets 50% to sleep, 50% to paralyze, and 10 to stun. Sleep is a little more prevalent now, but it's still underwhelming. I'd rather not be able to be like slowed, stopped, charmed. Honestly, so disable is one of like the most impactful statuses, but I honestly feel like I don't see it that much anymore. Like I know we had last time with Valric running around doing LB things that I forgot he had, and I lost games because of it. But like things like arm shot, I feel like I don't see those as much anymore. Do you guys kind of like feel like what I'm saying here? Because like I feel like I disable, while it's powerful, I don't see it that much.
It's good for the cheese. Like after Agrias of the meta, because Agrias was really the big disable abuser with the North Swing Strike. And after she got out of the meta, the people that really want to use disable, they are like the DPS that just have disable tacked on the skill, and they just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna use this for the damage, and then if I get disabled, it's gonna be like whatever, good, better. Or like you are losing, and then okay, let me pray that this 25% disable hits. That kind of stuff. Other than Varric's LB that you mentioned, that has the really high disable chance, really not relevant anymore as
Like
much as would like to think.
like
Right?
chat's
Agres was really the person that you really found annoying to not have disable resist.
yeah, like the chat's reminding us. I mean, yeah, Kmart has an AoE one, which is good. Dwayne, I guess if you're using him in live PvP these days, he does have one as well.
I
And
think
then, like we
Kmont
said, arm shots.
is
That's probably
Kmont
the
is
most
still
relevant one.
relevant.
Yeah. But in terms of like what resist I really want, like yeah, a disable will lose you a game, but I feel like the like frequency versus like desire ratio, disable is actually a little lower on my list now. That like I'd rather almost not even get slowed these days. Like
Yeah.
slow is so fucking backbreaking. You might as well be disabled sometimes.
On my part, like I feel like I've been burned enough by like fucking disables or whatever, like but even despite that, like I think if you're disabling Velis over one of your other units, I think you're fucking up. So like sometimes
That's fair.
units can get away with not having disable res or immunity because of like if you're disabling the support like you either already have an advantage or like either position wise or the unit wise or whatever or you're making a mistake. So especially because of how far away he can stay while being in range.
I think the sleep resistance is gonna have one big caveat now that we didn't get to see the unit too much because of the rule set last time. Next CM, more than Mary is gonna go full force on us because now there's gonna be 2 re-raise casts for her, no courage. So if they like got Velis versus more, you can't now sleep.
No sleep and he's
use-
ice. Yeah.
But you can still use the LB for the silence, but still you are forced to use the LB to with Velis. So that's a big win in my opinion. Rather than have him spam sleep on him, it's better to force the one-time LB and then tank, because Velis is gonna be tanking more.
Or just
We'll talk. Yeah.
use Rosa's pure pair or something and just
Yeah, right.
forget about it.
Yeah, and so like
Before we get too much into what else he does, yeah.
Yeah.
That's relevant enough for Velis in the sleep defense of sleep rest. So
yeah, he let's get into his skills so we can talk. I guess we're getting into like full kit stuff, so let's just get through the rest of it. So passive wise, he gets Deep Snow, which I've upgraded to Everlasting Snow. Thematic name, cool. He gets 12 Spirit, 20 Healing Power, and 20 AoE resist. I guess we're talking about Rosa, similar. This kind of is reminiscent of things that Rosa would do. Then also his other unique job passive is Boreal Bloom, which is really just a magic level 1. It's just a 30% magic. Pretty sure you're just going to be almost always having Deep Snow, but then you're going to look into something like Scholarly Intuition for your defense and accuracy. You got Knowledge Reserves for cast time down another 200, which brings you down 500. Pretty insane. And then, of course, if you're farming or doing things with Arithmetician, you can do those as well. But passive-wise, his unique one is Cold Comfort. Chance to counter all damage by 20. It's got a decent range of 3, small damage. It is magic, but it is non-elemental. I feel like it's called Cold Comfort. They could have at least made it ice. Maybe just give a little bit there. But I'm not thrilled with like any of his passives really. Like his first one's probably the best because it absorbs HP, but damage distribution does it based on typeless, which is nice. But
based on damage taken.
It has lower. What's that?
It's based on damage taken, as opposed to hit the damage he's doing.
Oh, that's fair. But the range is so much lower though. Like that 3 range really just makes that first one more desirable because all 3 of them are like ranged, do things back to them sort of thing. So
these are random. Like you can see like an argument for all 3 because reactive force has a slightly higher chance of trade-off. You have Cold Comfort with the higher range, and then damage distribution has for some reason it has 3 height range. So like
yeah, it does actually. What the fuck?
Does like it has a random as height range. So
I guess it's a arithmetician things, right?
Maybe if like they are a bit high, you don't get any of the other 2, but you do get the damage distribution. So it's the niche for all 3 of them if you want to consider. I think all 3 are viable in a way.
So we got main job wise, he gets his like sort of spammy move, which is I believe it looks like it's only instant cast unless you have his sub job, is Ice Spike. Just simple 121 damage mod, ice magic attack. Got range 3, height 1, bunch of casts, only costs 13 AP. So this is your like bread and butter spammy skill, but he's got some other stuff that don't know how often he's using that. So then he has Ice Blessing, which has a 2 uses, 20 TP, just for self. That's why I love him. 40% magic, cool. But Protect and Shell, 25% for self. The amount of units coming out with Protect and Shell on self is just insane, and we've talked a lot about this in the past, how impactful those are. There's very few things, I can't say none anymore, but very, very few things that actually remove those. So it's so good, the 25% damage reduction across the board, outside of like things that don't scale like Drain Force.
Another reason to use OG Luarta.
Oh, I was waiting for it. I was waiting.
Oh, I know. And even with just his mastery ability, this is a 360 cast time. It's a 2-tick cast. It's pretty fast. He gets Ice Healing, which upgrades to Snow Healing, which is it's basically a Curaga, right? So 210 healing mod, but also restores 15 AP, and it's a giant burst from a range 4 away, range height 2. It's a super versatile heal. I don't play Arena a lot anymore, but when I did with him to like test him out a little bit and kind of see how his interactions worked, and dude, the heals that would come out of this thing are just disgusting, and the range and everything. And it's 38 TP. He's gonna get a bunch of. He's not having any AP problems, I don't think, unless somebody drains him. Then he gets Sub-Zero, which is a pre-damage 38% ice imperil from a range of 4 with a range height of 2, which I'd love to see. 220 mod, just base. Like, what the fuck? Cast time is 320 though, so unless you were adding something onto cast time wise outside of his master ability, it's gonna be 3 ticks. It's a little annoying, but gotta balance them somewhere. 28 AP, 3 uses, not bad. We got Stars of Swiftness, which is another buff, 360 again, so 2 ticks. Gives haste to himself and haste to another. This skill, I think, is part of why he is going to be so impactful in live PvP. The fact that you can apply haste to 2 things, like Haste Egg is already amazing. And if your third unit has Kane TMR, or is also another time mage that can also cast haste on somebody, you can start with all 3 units hasted up, and you free up one of your units to use another buff, like we always talk about Mastery TMR or something. This is an amazing ability. He gets 3 casts of it, so he can refresh it. He can do it on the other person if he wants. Then his Job 25 skill is Eternal Frost. Again, pre-damage. He gets 40 Spirit Pen, another 220 mod, and it's a giant burst AoE. Again, from range 4, range height 2, AoE 1. Like, this kit is so stacked. And real quick, before we kind of deep dive in, his main job, sub job, he gets Frost Rift. It's a 180 mod with this bizarre like little X symbol. So it's almost like if you know what Victor's LB looks like, where it's like the really long diagonals. It's just 1 square of each diagonal. With a 45% chance to inflict frostbite. So 45% is a pretty high number when people have 97 faith. However, the way this is worded, it says decreased chance by 20. In game, it says increased chance by 20.
Yeah.
Well, it says increased chance if you are affected by haste. So he gets a 65% chance. Well, actually, no, it's a conditional. So the 20 happens after faith mods.
Yeah.
So it'll be the base chance multiplied by faith mods. Then you just tack on an extra 20. This is frostbiting very often. That's what the math says. Unless you have resistances, it's super reliable. Outside of the weird fucking range. The range height and the aiming is going to be weird, but I think you can catch a lot of people off guard with this. If you're going to be on it.
As long as you can hit.
I think the AoE is not that awkward as it seems, because if you can notice, like if you want to target a tile in the front and then you hit 2 units, you can do that. You don't have to aim on units, so
right.
Still somewhat viable for that, I think
it's probably better than we think it is, for sure. It's right now it feels so weird because it's new.
If you had to target a unit, then sure, it would be really awkward. But since you can target a tile, you can even hit like one person really in the corner with one of the squares and then you catch them off guard. That's like actually awesome, in my opinion.
That's true, because it does have the delayed cast too, so it's gonna be at least 3 ticks unless you have crazy reduction. So, and you can even do like some predictions with this. Like, I guarantee I'm gonna hit this guy, but they're gonna try to move out of this AOE and realize that, oh shit, I moved into it because it's this weird X. Really, really cool. And then we have his other ability, his last unique ability besides his LB, Lethargic Break. So this is also a really cool one. So decrease AP by 30x. Now, when it says 30x, I believe it's just a flat 30. And then the CT 20x is going to be a 20%. Yeah, I mean, it's a range 3, cross AoE, range 1 AoE 1, 3 uses 22 AP. Oh, that's an AP skill? Wait a second.
It is, yeah.
Oh, it's like damaging AP, I guess. So it's... Oh, that's weird, actually.
It's also insta-cast. You have to mention that. It's instant. So you can't swing a match. It's kind of like a reverse Nin Blade. You can like that.
It's almost like a little like mini Mish thing. I want to use him and Mish together, just like CT control and like doing all like haste both of them up, go around. The fire and ice. And then I guess last thing real quick though, LB. So it's a range 4 AoE 1. Again, range 1 AoE 1. Massive AP cost 63, but 200 damage mod. It's kind of standard for LBs these days, but 100% hit chance, and then also gives him a 3-time 50% physical damage barrier. So this just adds on further to how he can tank things. He's got a lot of spirit buffs built into his kit, and he's got this physical barrier over here. All right, someone check me and tell me why he's not as good as I think he is. Go. Oh wait, you can't. All right, cool. Podcast over.
All right, done.
Yeah, we're done.
Before we just like delve deep, just so we don't forget, the Cusco said about the AI check for a barrier, so you don't use like Elena's TMR on him, so he actually wants to use LB. So
okay, that's fair.
Caveat, yeah. So small observation.
That's on AI. We don't talk about that here. No, thank you. That is a useful thing to know if people care. But
quick match is gonna be a thing, so quick pick.
We don't.
There's your
quick pick. No, I was kidding. Well, I'm not kidding.
Your obligatory quick pick, pandering people that care.
That's fair.
You can go back for the fun stuff.
Go watch your Oron J and every other content creator, Ryan Dells and Diggs and. Fuck. No, I was kidding.
Canceled.
No, all love. All right. Yeah, right. Them shout outs. If someone watches podcast doesn't know who they are, I don't know what the fuck they're doing on More the Visions YouTube. Like, how are we above like people with like thousands of subs? Like, come on now.
Honestly, that's really culture. That's like a level of transcendence beyond. We just like care about the manual side. I
mean, I would appreciate it, of course. I'm just talking. I'm just being silly. But all right, back to Velis. My God. All right, Daniel, thoughts on Velis? I know you pulled for him. I know you've been enjoying him, but kind of see if there's anything either I missed or like not as good as it sounds. Whatever.
Yeah, for sure. The first thing I wanted to address is the back to the TMR. As if it wasn't good enough, 32 TP and 2 casts. Like any TMR with 2 casts is like instead of like 1 cast, you know. And 2 casts of this particular ability with the restore AP and the AP down, like just over the top. Like it's a huge AP like gainer in terms of just raw AP, but the fact that it's a 3-turn like decrease AP consumption, that you can use it twice. That's like using it for 2 battles, like in like a guild battle or something, or like for like a long drawn out like live PvP match. Use it at the beginning, get like your use out of it, and then like if you need to rebuff it, like just the sustain is just really impressive in my opinion. I just wanted to make sure to include that. Really weird that Spellblades don't get it. I wasn't expecting that. Let's see. So we're already familiar with scholars and arithmeticians, obviously. I was actually wondering which subjobs you guys would prefer to run on Velis if you had the chance. I don't know, Les, do you have Velis yet?
I'm pretty sure they owner did pull for him. He got like unpaid. Like it was really cheap for him this time. He usually has to pay it too, but got lucky for this banner.
Gotcha.
I guess
So-
yeah, because Laz, you kind of like commandeer people's
Yeah.
accounts for CM, right?
Yeah.
I hijack. I'm like a
You hijack?
like a
Contract
dispenser.
PvPer. Just like, hey man, I need you to do this for me.
So
Like a
like it's interesting. Like if you take a look at his sub jobs, like his arithmetician sub job, he gets pretty much everything you're looking for except for fucking like height 3 Kira, I think it is. Like the AoE Kira.
There's one other
Um
missing thing, but I actually have no idea what it is.
yeah, I mean he gets disable, he gets the CT average. He gets like the obviously the attack skills. So I mean that's really good for farming, but um I don't know if it's as competitive of a live PvP choice. I mean,
Right.
obviously the range is incredible. Just look at Halloween Little Leela, and what she's able to do. But I mean, Scholar is still pretty impressive in itself. I mean, you don't have like Magic Orb, like instant cast. You don't have like Devitalizing Glint, or the instant cast for that. But I mean, Glacial Calling, you have Law of Preservation for increasing defense.
Dude,
You
glacial
can
calling is sick.
yeah, you can reduce CT even more, so you can get up to like 800 reduced with the knowledge passive as well, making pretty much anything like one tick, right?
Yep.
He doesn't have anything like a flare cast speed of like 200, I don't think. And then he has the stupid law of disarmament. So I mean, like there are some pretty competitive choices here, but honestly, like I'm really leaning towards his main sub job. The chance to frostbite is just crazy as long as he has enough accuracy to hit. Um, but like it doesn't really have that much of an impact on wins as much as I would like it to have more of an impact on like other elements. Like if you're facing a win team and you have Velis on your team, like chances are you're probably going to be okay. But what I'm really looking at is the chance to frostbite these fucking evade units. So like that's going to be the most impactful. And if you can raise his accuracy to the point where he can like maybe reliably, like I don't know, coin flip the frostbite. I mean, you've seen how devastating Curry is with his frostbite, and that's only going to get worse. So having that option as well as the lethargic break to reduce AP as well as CT. The CT isn't like 50%, but it's still something, you know. It keeps reminding me of Mish, man. Like
Yep.
Mish has like the fucking the Abyssal Mire. No, maybe that's
Abyssal
Rain.
Mire, yeah.
Is it Mish?
Mhm.
I don't know. I keep conflating the two. But just like the CT manipulation and the quicken cast time, like holy shit. So what are you guys thinking as far as sub jobs though?
I think, yeah, like you said. By the way, Holy is the ability that he doesn't have on the Arithmetician. The height, Holy.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, his Scholar. I mean, you have to remember that I build a lot of mono ice teams, so I'm super partial to using the Scholar passive for glacial calling. Like giving single target res is good, but like that ice attack buff is pretty big, and then the evocation gauge. You want to talk about hitting evade units? The number of times I've been beaten in like a guild battle or something with an evade team because they were able to either cast that or what's the other content that I feel like I see espers in like far more often than they used to be seen.
Arena.
It might have been
Arena.
Arena.
I have lost it in Arena because of Esper summons.
Something like that. But like just being able to get your evocation up to beat evade units is just really, really good. Plus he has another way to give himself some defense. The defense debuff is helpful. I'm not sure how. I'd have to like look at the list of things that can actually debuff you and see how frequently I think that's coming up. But like just the 15 defense is sweet. And then also the law of speed reading, being able to restore CT once it resolves, and then given his really high agility, and you get this cast time down by 350, and again it's for 4 turns. Like there's a lot of utility here in the Scholar. However, and I'm gonna basically ignore Arithmetician for live PvP. It's amazing for PvE, but these other two are so attractive. It
Right.
would take a lot for me to use them.
Right.
And his cast time's fast enough. I don't think you need to really worry about him being instant, unless their agility is just really on pace with you and they get to move every time. But his sub job, yeah, the utility on the frostbite is insane. It's a really high percentage. We've seen how good Curry is with it. Lethargic break is really interesting though. Anytime you can manipulate your opponent's AP and CT, especially in the same skill, like it's impactful. The only thing I want to know is this skill is an AP skill, so it's offensive. It's reflectable, so I wonder if when they reflect it, do you lose your AP or do you lose your HP? That's one question. And second, like how is that coded? And second, can this be evaded? Because it's an AP skill, it probably can be, right? Then it's not a TP skill.
I would expect it to be able to, yeah.
So that's really unfortunate.
It is, yeah.
I think that yes, because like stuff such as
It's an attack skill.
AP break, and the the pierce skill from Lancer, I forgot the name.
Mana
So
Strike.
can be evaded. Yeah.
That's fair.
So,
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
no, because that skill specifically it damages AP. This is decreases AP, so this is like a different,
that is interesting.
like a different framing, because it doesn't have a attack type modifier. Because Mana Strike is actually a pierce attack that damages. It's like an AP. It has like a 20x or whatever, and then but it can scale based on your modifiers. This won't scale based on any kind of attack type.
Sasaki tested that it can be evaded.
So it can be evaded. Okay, so it can be evaded. And then I don't really care about the reflecting. That was more of a thought, but same as Assassin AP Steel, is it? So who was like Venera?
Gumi, like the way that they code stuff, you might as well crash the game the moment you like reflect the skill.
Reflect an AP drink.
Yeah. Wait, they actually used this? We didn't prepare for this. The game just crashes. You just lose your
Seize
your
AP, absorb it. AP Steel. Are you talking about Seize AP? Because that's still not the same. That's not the same type of skill, right? Because this is a. Does a Carbuncle have Reflect Up in Beastin? You might, yeah. I mean, you can also just cast the. There's some other spell you can do, but I think it's like Carbuncle VC or something. But because this says absorb AP 15 to 25%. This one is decreases AP 15x to 30x. So it's still a different framing.
I think it comes back to the AP attack.
That's
like it's
probably
AP drain,
what it is. Yeah.
and I think it's consistently because it's AP and not TP. It's able to be evaded.
I think that's probably the case, but I'd be curious to.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go
nice
with
to
that
know.
for now, and maybe we'll just note it in the future if it doesn't.
This is gonna be a new trend on the podcast, by the way. We're gonna discuss with the podcast chat and stuff.
Yeah,
like
I mean that's one of the major reasons I was pushing towards this, and I'm glad it's working.
Kosk in the chat test team, go deploy the scientist. They go into it.
I think it's my turn to talk about Velis,
Yes,
right?
sir, it is. Yep, just going to you.
Okay, so Amar, the only observation I really have to say is that again for AI, two casts on TMR is amazing. For guild battle, they cast once, and then the other battle they get another cast. It helps with the AI fix and stuff like that. Always good to have that reliability added. Like if you remember OG days, you use Mont TMR because they had two casts to fix the movementation of them unit, because they would get up and buff TMR with Monts, then they would like fix the movement. Yeah, that kind of stuff. But yeah, amazing buffs, amazing for that kind of shit. So as for passives, always you want to use Everlasting No. I can't see the argument for Scholar Intuition if the meta is too evading and you don't want to rely too much on the LB to hit evade teams. I could see that going. Also, the increased depth is always nice. The knowledge resource also helps, but I feel like Velis is fast enough to not really care too much about the cast time.
Yeah.
Other units such as Lemur that you want to stack agility to mitigate the clock ticks, or even like Phoebe. So I feel like the agility helps. His high agility helps that. Counter, all three have the good sides. I could see all three of being used. Job is amazing. No really comment on that. Oh, I have a comment. Did mention how like multiple unit haste cast is always nice. But what's really nice is when your haste caster also has the haste on him.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Because
nuts.
you don't lose the first turn using haste on yourself. Like that's a thing. You use haste on someone and then you use haste on yourself with Velis. It's almost like you save a turn because of that. Because you're using a second turn in a way that you would use like Salir would haste yourself, then haste someone else. That is you use 2 turns because you haste yourself and then haste someone else in the same skill. That helps a lot with buffing and like may not sound like a lot, but in live PvP where like the turns to engage really matter, I can see that being really invaluable. Also, it helps.
I think it's one of the main
Salir.
things that's like really, really powerful about him. Like all these other, like the damage mods are great, and the protected shell is cool for himself. But I think it really is the double haste that just kind of like
Pushes it over
puts
the
him
top.
for live PvP is absolutely nuts.
Not to mention, if you want to cast like the other unit, you also get another cast of haste on yourself because
Right.
another annoying
Refreshes
thing is
it.
like, yeah, you cast haste on your haster, then you cast haste on 2 more, then you buff, and then your haste is gone. So you have to recast haste. It's really annoying. Velis don't have to worry about that.
And you can also go like haste into law of speed reading. Give himself the CT is going to restore by 300. He's going to have the haste on himself, and then he's going to be able to recast the second haste in like 1 tick or something. Keep that refreshed for the whole match. It's nuts.
I could see an argument on cast on you not buffing his cast speed, so your lower speed reading comes out like a late pop, so you can catch a turn off guard.
That's fair.
Similar to like how you don't level jump, the bigger invulnerability, you could like avoid to give him a lot of cast time. So when your lava speed reading pops, you always get a turn with Velis.
The only thing is, if you don't level it, you get less CT. Is the only problem.
Not that you mean. I mean, as in you don't use anything else that gives you more CT. You know.
Oh,
so
sure.
It comes as late as possible. I know it's gonna only be like a one use thing. But if you only really care about the 1 turn you can catch off guard. So I think that's a fair argument to do with him.
I don't know. I feel like that's like on paper, that's a noticeable thing, but like in practice, I don't think people are really going to be keeping track that much.
I mean,
I think it's probably more likely that like the more
like
cast time you have, the better kind of thing.
It's like a nuance, you know, like
Yeah.
It's like
Nuance
the meme max thing that we manual PvP are always about. So I think it's worth the mention, just so people can test around and play around with it.
Yeah, that's fair. If you don't mind, there's something like briefly I wanted to mention about the cast times. I double checked all of his cast times, and apparently, his Job 25 skill, Eternal Frost, is cast time of 200. So that's important to note about whether or not to use Scholar for his law speed reading, getting up to 850, making that like a 1 tick cast. It's also interesting how snow healing goes from 320 to or ice healing to snow healing. It's 320 to 400. I've never seen a 400 cast time. It's so weird.
It's really fast.
But again, going from 500 to 850 is gonna push that over from 2 ticks to 1 tick. You know.
That is true. Which could be the difference in a match. Like if you're at like they're 10 agility higher than you, I mean, every tick counts.
So the fact that it's a TP skill, it isn't affected by like the rune passive, like 200 attack cast up. So like you'd have to go law speed reading to take advantage of the 1 tick healing.
So breaking news. Kosk has some interesting findings in the chat. He just tested. By the way, we're gonna have to like hire you on as like the official like tester while we record. We're normally gonna record earlier in the mornings now, on Sundays, but it's just because today was Easter, just literally unable to. But it's all right. So the first one's easy. Carbuncle reflected it. He lost AP and CT, so it just reflects the effect, which is pretty sweet. Yeah. However, the way he said it at first was 0 evade chance listed when targeting lock. So I asked for clarification. Was it 0% chance to hit, or was it like there was no chance to evade? He said there was not even a percent. So it doesn't. You can't evade it. That's correct, right? Like it would be 0% if it was evadable. Like he just posted a screenshot. Yeah, you can't evade that skill.
Okay, that's interesting. Amazing. Makes really good. It makes
surprising.
Makes it from decent to actually good. Actual consideration to use his sub job.
What is the coding behind that? Because
It
like you
must
can
it
miss
must
with
be
the
because it's
others.
not damage. Like it's not like
Yes.
it's not coded as any form of damage. Like it's just a effect in the area. But it's weird that's an AP skill then if it's gonna do
Fucking
that.
Gumi, I guess.
Like
It's Gumi. I mean, that's the answer
Gimu.
to everything. Yeah,
I like to say
it's Gumi.
Gimu
Gimu.
when it's just like,
Anyways,
Jesus.
Main sub has Frost Rift. I already talked about that. Has interesting Lethargic Break. Just got a really nice buff, as we can see, like on our opinion. That's really great. Scholar, I just said that if you are gonna go mono ice, you want Scholar for the glacial calling, which is really good on that kind of thing. Arithmetician, I think it has a niche with you have a good range with all of the calculator stuff, as we know from the Unity, we all love Lila and the old days Yudira. But I think that the fact that you don't have to run like sub arithmetician for the height to disable, I think it can catch people off guard, because some maps have like higher height than usual. Sometimes the height tree can actually matter a bit.
And I mean, even the CT average is really good too.
Having a 35% chance to disable, it's actually pretty strong, in my opinion. Instant, it's a lot, you know. I can see that being a consideration for some CM maps, not all of them.
It could definitely be map dependent. You're right. Like a lot of his stuff is range height 1, AOE 1. So if you're on like a really hilly map, and it might be better to have these like height 3, height 4, whatever, height 5 even arithmetician skills where you just like rain bombs on people while they're trying to approach. Kind of like the old like temple map, the one that is like you couldn't quicken or anything, or you're in the middle. You can do it like down the side. That'd be really good. It sucks to lose all the cool stuff, but I could see that.
So
I think that the other last thing I could mention is that since the calculator sub became more desirable with EX, because now you don't have to choose between level 3 and level 4, because 120 is a multiplier by both, so
right,
you don't have that consideration anymore.
119 new meta.
So
it's broken.
The last that I have, it's interesting. Have you guys noticed like the lack of Spirit Pen or Magic Res Pen on him? Like he has I guess the next piece of content is his book that we're probably about to talk about, but his Job 25 skill is really the only thing he has to rely on in terms of penetration, and that's, I mean, obviously 40 Spirit Pen for 3 turns is awesome, especially in that having that burst range on the skill as well with 220 damage mod. Um, it's interesting how like he's one of the few casters I can think of where it's not that big of a deal. Like if like not having access to Magic Res Pen, or maybe not having time or whatever to get enough Spirit Pen in there. Like he is enough of a support caster, and even if he's like he has a chance to attack, like he has the ice and peril, and I like honestly that's already doing enough to turn the tide of battle in your favor, especially on the mono ice team. Have you guys noticed that?
Yeah, I think real quick, I was saying Gumi, like I think intends him to be like this supportive unit. Like it's cool that he has this big like badass Job 25 skill. This is how he sells 120. But I think that he's just kind of not supposed to be a super hard hitter. However, spoiler alert, he's pretty fucking good.
He just like is a support unit that can do dish some damage if needed. Like
he's a pivot support,
especially on an arithmetician sub.
Like you want him for the support, and then if he gets to do damage and kill someone, like that's extra. Like
right, you're doing your haste, healing your guys who engaged already because they were hasted, giving them some AP. They get to keep fighting. And then it's like, oh, by the way, 220 mod with 40 Spirit Pen. Like, just out of nowhere.
That guy's about to die, and I can kill him with Velis. Then like I'm gonna take the kill. Like,
right.
It's one of those things. Like the longer you let Velis live, the worse it's going to be for you.
Yeah,
that's not always the case.
But then you're killing the support. Like then you're focusing Velis if you kill him early. It's nuts.
I mentioned
so yeah, you're going to regret
about
it.
Lemur, like how I said I really just use her for 3 turns because of Tiamat and 2 hostages. Velis don't have that. The more you use Velis, the more value he gets. He just like goes from full support, and then he shifts between for a sub DPS in the match. That's really great. You don't have a useless DPS unit after some time. You have a actual competent DPS unit after some time.
Yeah, the 220 mod's attached to, like, both of the 220s are also attached to some other kind of damage increaser. Like, you have an Imperil or you have Spirit Pen attached. I mean, those are going to be better against different units. Actually, yeah, I guess let's jump into his weapon real quick, because this does kind of factor into what we're talking about here. It has 2 versions, but it only has one. You're building magic. So 50 HP, 24 attack, meh. 170 magic, pretty good. I think it's a little less than the other book. The other one's like 186, I think. Has 10 accuracy, 5 crit rate. Cool crit. Always happy to see a little bit of accuracy. We'll get like half of it probably based on other items. But the cool part is another option for book users, because it has +5, or at +5, sorry. It has 20 Spirit Pens. So it's not just like 15 or 10. It does have 20. And it's not like the 10 magic resist pen and 10 Spirit Pen. It's just straight up Spirit Pen. It is not, even though it looks very icy and very specific to him, it is usable by any book user, which is helpful. It's not just himself. So
He probably looks good on somewhere else as well. It's like has the same.
I can see that.
The same teal of
It's icy.
on her.
It's spicy.
It looks pretty nice on her.
Color palettes.
I think like it's actually a really good book for any book user, because Spirit Penetration is such a universal damage buff that you're not gonna hit too hard on people that don't have much spirit. But the thing is, if they don't have much spirit, they're already gonna take a lot of damage anyway. So like you don't really care about that much. You're probably already gonna one-shot or two-shot people with low spirit, unless they have.
Also, like a resist tank or something.
They have like a insane resist, which is then like really niche. Maybe Noctis I can see like actually matter, because Noctis had a bunch of good resists anyway, so you can see only matter on him.
Yeah, and with his. Sorry.
Otherwise, I can see like the Spirit Penetration being way better than Magic Rest Penetration. Then you're just gonna want to use them on like people that aren't, I guess, Vibara, because Vibara has their personal tome. That's about it. I think somewhere else, all they could benefit greatly from this.
Yeah, it puts them up to 60 Spirit Pen on that ability. Are there other ways to find magic resist penetration in items? Like, so Soul of Tomasa has what, Spirit Pen?
Stiamar has Spirit Penetration. No, magic rest penetration. I think it's 40.
Runes.
Okay, so you can do it there. Runes could have it. I'm
Garbles.
probably. What's that?
Garvel's TMR.
Yeah, that's what. Okay, so yeah, Les. And so that's the, which item is that again? I don't actually remember what that does.
The brooch, I think, the peacetime brooch.
It's 50 magic. It's a magic buff and 50 magic resist penetration.
Forgot about that. Forgot about that one. Fury Surge. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, so I guess if someone's a magic resist tank specifically, maybe he struggles a bit, but he at least has tools to affect the other ones. Any other major notes on him? Because I know we could just kind of bounce back and forth telling stories, but
so I already said like I had my last thought. So like my final thought is one that's very important to address or to take note of, and that is, does he have any glaring flaws that you guys can see?
Nope.
Because it seems to me, aside from fire missile units or whatever, like fucking Muerta, breaking his protecting shell, or like Setia, like breaking his barrier. Like what does he struggle against? Because like it looks like he's gonna have like more spirit than the usual caster, and maybe not as much defense as the usual like scholar. So like do any like glaring weaknesses like jump out to you guys?
Evade a little bit. Like, yeah, he has a sure hit, but beyond that, I mean, he has the accuracy passive, but I don't think he's gonna be the most accurate unit in the world. I haven't tested it yet against it to really see. Koska chat also said silence, so status effects, if you silence select.
I mentioned more earlier. I have a meme build I tried with more before, which was using Soft Tamasa and Christmas Mogul 3 stars, because Christmas Muggles gives 20% science resist, and Soft Damage gives 25. So you have a 45% science resist from that. That gives you like a 50-50 on not getting science or TMR. So let's. And also, Christmas Moogle has like a magic resistant ice attack, so it actually might be really interesting for Velis for that reason.
My Velis may or may not be 10 out of 10 with the Winter Moogle.
I think
nice.
Okay, I did like the calcs. It turns into 22% chance for silence. After faith mods, that's at 97, I'd say. That's like 40%. That's actually a favor coin flip for Velis.
I mean, that's assuming it's a 50% mod, right? Like, most of them are 25.
Oh,
are you talking about specifically for more?
That's LB. The LB.
Oh, sure, it's more though.
Yeah, 40% on to get silence. So that's on Velis' favor. You don't you get the soft amount, which is a good item for support. Christmas Bogle is a good esper for him, so might as well go for that. If you see a lot of more, you go for that, and then suddenly you have a way favorable matchup than you would expect.
Yeah, so the Winter Moogle has 16 agility too, which is really important. I mean, that's an MR Esper having 16 agility and like all relevant branches is pretty. I'm not gonna say rare because we do have a couple that are up there like that, but yeah, it has magic resist too, which helps. You're specifically talking about this matchup too, where she's going to be dealing magic attack damage.
Yes, ice attack,
and wind killer. It's like it's all of it, yeah. And TP. I mean, if he ever has TP problems,
like I think it's like actually a really viable solution for Velis against more, especially for next team. If you see a lot of mono ice team with more running around, that Velis just turns this into you can say a soft counter because of you can get silence, but it goes way better with that.
There's something to be said though, like you're still more fighting Velis. Like you gotta hit him before he hits you. His teammates have to not have any kind of Asuna, and like I mean, especially me specifically, I'm probably gonna kill them more if she walks at me with the other two units, and maybe I have to wait a couple turns. But it's cool to have that as like so they don't have that weapon against you to turn it.
You can see that like if Velis gets silenced, he doesn't only lose his attack capability, he loses any capability. Like you're losing Velis for 3 turns, so.
Oh, I know, of course. I'm saying that it's still not like it's one example, right? It's like one thing
they do get the chance. They can make Velis useless for 3 turns, which might actually turn the tide for them because More has erased, so she can die. Like they can do a play where they're gonna lose. They're gonna lose erase anyway, so they might as well make Velis useless for 3 turns, and then they go like I don't know, like wind shenanigans. Lila and then June stuff. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but they could like somehow turn the tide because Velis couldn't heal or couldn't do damage.
All right, back to the question though. So, what are there any other things besides? So we've said silence. I'm hesitant to say evade is a good matchup for him. I know, like if he can pop people, that's cool. But if it's specifically Elena, like she's gonna resist. She's not gonna die from that first hit, and then you got to deal with the rest of it. So. What was
stop because Keton is always Keton is always around, so stop. You can say that. Petia also nerfs.
Can we just summarize status effects that he's not resistant to?
Yeah, exactly. So charm, stop, silence.
Just looking for checklists. Poison. Yeah. So we got those.
I forgot. For Wind matchup, Winter Water can mobilize him for the other side of the map, and then he becomes like a standing healing. Another thing that
but then can she kill him? Since they're healing.
It's 6 range, so Winter unless you are on math sub, he can't hit her back. So
it's not as much of a glaring weakness on Velis's part. It's just a overbearing advantage on Winter Luarth's part. Let's be honest. I just wanted to make sure to address that so that we weren't just like
singing praises,
just fully like like our like sock puppets. So one last thing, his auto attack is magic based, like Killphase originally, like she
That's
was the original. So I
huge.
think
That's huge.
that's just like cherry on top, because all of these upgrades, like either master abilities or X jobs, I'm always looking for like anybody that's magic based to get the fucking basic attack upgraded to from physical to magic. It's so stupid. I mean, like it's true to the original game. Like yeah, you just whack them with a stick, and maybe you're looking for that to get like hits on fucking pugilists. Where like a pugilist gets hit 5 times, they have the maximized damage or whatever. So there's argument for that basic physical attack, but to me it just seems thematic that like you're basic attacking with your magic stat as a magic basic unit. So it's cool that he gets that. I'm actually not really too surprised as a 100 cost limited, like fucking Warrior of the Crystal that he gets it, but it could have just as easily been the
Yeah,
farmer.
Cost does point out this is a trend that I don't know if you've noticed, but any sort of book
Yeah,
user always has that.
yeah.
It's like book users and like the staff mages or whatever the fuck Killface job is called. I always forget. Is it just staff mage? Is that what it is?
Staff mage, yeah.
All right. So you already had your last thoughts. Laz, any last quick thoughts before we move on to the VC?
You can go ahead.
All right, dope. So Trembling Heart is another mono ice VC. We like to see those. It gives 328 HP. It's got 5 spirit and 140 magic and a very sad art. If nobody has realized, I believe I heard that is Lynx's cat. So everybody looks sad in the picture because Lynx.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so I think that's Lynx's cat
No.
after she died, right?
Wow, that's awesome.
Super and Trembling Heart is like the name, whatever, or the cat died, whatever it is. It's very like lore rich, so lore rich I can't explain it, but it actually has the explanation at the bottom. It's very long. I'm not gonna read it, but you can go read it on Wafi Calc or in game. Anyway, so decent HP. It gives 5 spirit, which we always like to see these other stats that aren't just attack and magic. A middling 140 magic. For ice units on bestow, though, it gives 100 cast speed for both the like offensive and supportive skills. Decreased crit rate 5. Deal. Shell herself gets an upgrade or gets a bonus with this card. Shell gets 5% agility and 20% magic if she holds this card. I took my Shell. I put this on her main VC. I had a 15 agility somewhere else in the party. I had just like an actual normal VC. Nothing like I wasn't trying to like max out her agility. I had like some kind of high agility TMR, a normal staff, and then I had like the anklet. And her passive, she was sitting at like 125 or 123 agility or something, just like casually, like before any sort of affinity bonuses. It's so silly how much she gets with this.
It's Shell, like, so 5% actually it's like a billion for her, so
for sure.
With this EX age where dodge can get like 130 agility, seeing our MR of all things with like 135, it's just like,
yeah, it's nuts.
Just comes to show that Shell's the true UR of the family. Sorry, Howlett. You're being replaced by your little sister.
Yeah, speaking of URs, yeah. So Howlett gets his portrait bonus for this card where he's not an ice unit, but he still gets an ability. Siren is only for attack things. I see you guys in the chat talking about cast time. Unfortunately, I think Siren's only attack abilities, but
yeah, it is.
So Howlett gets what is this? Quick math, 40 /res penetration. Then Tyitis gets his 20% HP bonus as well. Again, just for being on the art. But ice party abilities, we finally get our 50% magic VC. We have not had that yet. We get a nice bonus of 10 AoE resist as well, and then the damage limit up by 2500. Man, I wish that was a little different for PvP purposes, because we typically don't hit those max hits unless we're against a wind unit, but we're already, they're already dead.
You slap this on Christmas on Saturday for raid.
So Lyran's is throwing the LB that just like max damages people. But yeah, this card I'm really excited about. Obviously, the 50% magic bonus is something I've been waiting for a long time for Mono Ice. They put cast time on it. Of course, I'm happy about that. It gives you a little bit of tankiness. If you put it on Shell specifically, it's got this crazy magic buff, 20% with agility on top of that. Like, there's a lot to be desired about this card. There's no like ability or anything that makes it super high cost, so it's only 70 for when that's relevant. So this chat, any like special thoughts about it, or just kind of, you know, good card, move on
I
sort of
have
things?
a special consideration that it gives 5 spirit. It might not seem like a much, but since Shell is all about being a support, so we don't really slap bulk on her, having the 5 spirit extra from her personal card is actually pretty good because it's a lot more survivability than you would expect, you know? It's like, oh, I might want to use I don't know, I might want to use like Mastery's TMR for the extra spirit, but now you can just select the card and then use another TMR for flexibility. Bulk. I think that's actually a bit bigger than people give credit for.
Yeah, especially like the difference between 90 and 95 spirit is pretty small generally, but if you have like 0 to 5, like you can sometimes notice that, especially against penetrations, because like they're not going to penetrate all of that, so you're actually getting a lot of that 5 at the lower values.
If you go from like 10 for 15, that's actually pretty good. I think
That one
that's
too, yeah.
actually like
Anything on the lower scale.
A hit you would die, then you live like on like 2 HP, but you still have the unit, so she's still gonna be useful. That's
Right.
like really huge for her, in my opinion. That's about it.
And the last thing this week, we have the Terra's Ribbon from the Trials event that's running right now. We have 3 versions of it.
One, let's say, because
we go barrier on this, or maybe we go crit. It's not a TMR, so like TMRs now we can look at these stats, and they're never gonna have more than one version, but like they get a little more exciting, so you can modify them. But man, again, if it's critical, give us like 20 crit, and I might actually consider it. But I assume we're going barrier on this mostly, for the 263 HP and 15 spirit with 3 accuracy, 3 crit. The critical version gives 12 crit, 7 accuracy. More HP though is nice, and the vital gives 377, which is 100 over the barrier version. But I mean, 12 spirit is a lot of a difference to lose. It's equipable by all jobs, and the +5 effect is it gives human killer when attacking with magic attacks. So anything that scales off magic damage. Not quite as desirable to me as the old ribbon, but are there any thoughts you guys have about this, Daniel?
Yeah, it's basically a Prompto's wristband, except for magic users.
Right.
It's really comparable stats.
You can say, like, you can argue that maybe if you want to use Salir's TMR on someone and then you don't want to give up the TMR slot to just slap this in. Yes, that's the main use. But now with runes and the fact you can make a Salir TMR like a better of Terra's Ribbon, you kind of make this like really redundant.
Yeah.
I think like it's always nice to have a one copy of, especially barrier if you want to go that way. Like, please craft barrier, beg you. I'm gonna go into your house and craft barrier for you if you don't want to. But I think if you want to go with Terra's Ribbon, you might as well go with Salir's Ribbon plus runes, because it's 20. I think it's 20 Ether with Salir, Human Killer.
Right.
Then you get the TMR. You can get agility, Salir's Ribbon, because of runes. That's huge, actually.
And I don't think I thought I specified this, but maybe I misspoke. I did say magic scaling attacks, right? Not magic attack skills. So it does work on slash, strike, whatever, missile, anything that scales off the magic stat and is defended by spirit is going to be affected by this. But it was mentioned in the chat, so I don't know if I misspoke. But if I said magic attack specifically, like the attack type, that's not what I meant.
But I think that's the main thing you want to consider. Do you want to use Salir's TMR with runes, or do you want to use this? That's the main issue.
Yeah, it's like if you can afford to put the Salir TMR on a team, obviously that's a lot better.
With runes, with some
you just have to be careful, because if typically a unit that's going to want that, though, maybe the unit that also carries Mastery TMR if you want to also have the heal. So you just have to be careful of how those overlap. But it's nice to have both sides of it, though, so you have a tool for both slots. But I don't think
Say,
I'd break my
the-
back farming 50 million of these. Although I do kind of want the title because it has Prodigy in it.
I mean,
I am.
that's the thing. You always want one of these items anyway from the bot
Right.
because they're ultra limited. So yeah, craft one. If you find a use, good. If you don't find a use, you have the option. That's what I have to say about.
My last thought is that I'm a little irked by the lore description. It's got major spoilers from the game. So yeah, it's basically a big fuck you to anybody who hasn't played it.
I have not, and I'm gonna read it right now, so I never have to play the game. She wants. Nah, that's actually one game I do want to play because I just from playing the card game, a lot of the characters kind of appeal to me and like their themes. So and I've heard amazing things about it. It's based on like steampunk magic stuff. Sounds badass. But what's that, Les?
Yeah, like anyway, I think that's about it for Devil's Ribbon. Really,
Agreed.
really much
Yeah.
to add.
I don't know if I should apologize, but like integrity of the story is just really important to me. So
Oh, of
I was
course.
like, dude, what the fuck? I was reading it and like,
That's
anyways.
totally fair. But speaking of being it, I think that's it for the podcast. Daniel, any last thoughts about these topics in general before we wrap up?
No, man, it's bedtime.
We had a lot of it. Yeah, right. Laz, any last thoughts?
This was a pretty long one. I think it was pretty justifiable since we just skipped a week over for this.
Oh, for sure.
I'm deeply saddened that I won't be able to join the 69 episode because
By design. No, I was kidding. You'll be in the chat though, spamming some funny gifts and
Probably.
shit. So
we will because most of the time slot way better for me in the night than morning. So I really
yeah,
appreciate
that's true.
the chance and the fact we got to talk about so much stuff. I really enjoy like Seymour. I got to talk about some wacky stuff I do on build like the Mugo Tamazed combo for silence. Kind of stuff really made me actually be glad I got to participate such a interesting podcast for this.
appreciate
To
it,
be
man.
back with an actual cam, like because
Yeah, right.
the one I went,
Yeah,
the
wasn't
first
it like a
one,
phone last
way
time or
earlier.
something?
Yeah, it was my phone, and then like
Oh, yeah.
The connection was so bad.
Yeah,
This is much
now
better.
I have the much better cam. I stream, so I'm more like composed on the camera, so I'm like. I'm not
feel
spot
you.
to my Twitch.
I did want to say
Okay.
a quick shout out to those of us like in our that are joining us in the live audience. Thank you guys. We appreciate you joining us, and hopefully we get more people into coming live because you guys are really useful.
Absolutely. You're really useful. And that's the reason, super
Yeah, that's
useful.
the
You
only
guys
reason.
test shit for us. Thank you, everybody in chat. As well, I was gonna say as always, but I guess it's the first time. But expect more of this in the future. If you do want to get in on these, join the Discord in the description below. It will be there. But Laz, thank you for joining us again. I'll put a link to your streams in the description as well. He streams during class match periods, usually around the same time as me. We usually rate each other and stuff. So all the love there. And we have been Let's Talk Tactics. I've been Zach Bro.
I've been Daniel Bloom.
And we'll see you next time.
Lazarus.